Hey guys, it's Jennifer. I am coming to you from nature because we are going to draw some nature. Welcome back to lesson number 2 on drawing and shading. Today we are going to do a sunflower drawing using the basic skills of shading that we learned in the first video. So come on to my studio and let's draw a sunflower. Hello again. Welcome back to my studio. Today we are going to work on drawing some flowers. In the last video, if you haven't watched it, feel free to go back and watch. We talked about shading and some basic ideas on shading and techniques. And today, I thought it'd be fun to apply some of those ideas. Also, before I forget, I have a giveaway. I got my own set so I wouldn't steal my daughter's. I have no idea where all my pencils are. They have gone here and far. But I have a complete set now. Hooray. And I got a set to share with you guys. So if you would like to leave a comment at the end of this video, if you're in need of some drawing pencils, and then make sure you subscribe to my page, and then go find my Instagram page, Jennifer Moreman Artist, and subscribe over there, you can have a chance to win the pencils. Just put something like, I'd like to win some pencils, or thanks for the drawing, I'd like some pencils. Thank you. So anyways, don't forget to do that, and I will mail this to somebody directly from me. There will be nobody else but me messaging you, so make sure it's not some scammer. This is a sketching video. It is not a perfect video. It is a drawing exercise video. No one expects you to be perfect. I am not perfect by any means. It is to learn how to sketch. It is to have fun sketching. It's to practice drawing. I'm going to start out with a HB, brand new pencil that you could also win. We're just going to start out with some exercises to loosen up, free up our muscles, get them working and moving. And I think this is an important thing to do when you're sketching, drawing, anything. Some people can get nervous. Some people can get stiff. I know that my hands get used a lot, and I have to keep working them out. And you know, I get a massage every now and then, and my lady works on my hands because it's my most important tool. So you got to keep it fresh, you got to keep it sharp, and you got to keep it relaxed. So let's do some sketching exercises to get us started before we start drawing some flowers. All right, first I'm going to do some big phone cord loops. Getting this kind of movement down is important when you draw flowers because flowers are organic shape. They are not perfect. Every flower is different. There is no such thing as a perfect flower because, you know, they're all different. They're all unique, just like everybody. You know, you and me, we're all unique. We're all different, and that's what makes us so lovely. So let's do some cord loops. And I'm using the same Canson mixed media paper that I was in my last video. Kind of fun to be loopy. It's like when you used to write your name in school. Let's do some hashes. Gonna get those lines moving. You know, kind of turn it into a little abstract drawing if you want to. I don't know about you guys, but I was the queen doodler in school. That is how I paid attention. Some of my teachers were okay with it. Some of them were not. I remember I had some fabulous looking book covers by the end of the year. Frees up your thinking a little bit. Let's do some crosshatch. Feeling good, feeling fresh. There you go. Y'all can see that. So, when you start to sketch something like this, I like to start in a lighter pencil. I'm starting with HB, which I started sketching with over there on the first page. And you look for the shapes of your image. See, there is a large circle right here. But honestly, there's a larger circle out here. They have some cut-ins. Let's kind of make some triangles in there. And then you have your leaf shapes, which are kind of like ovals, taking little pieces out. You have some straight lines, but they're not, you know, honestly, they're not really straight. They're just kind of line work. And back here. So let's get started with some circles. So here's this circle right here. I do it kind of loosely, and I go over it several times. So I'm not married to any certain line yet. I find my lines I like, and those are the ones I go with. And then we have some larger lines. Here's a bigger circle, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in life really is my motto. There's some shapes. You know, and then we have this leaf down here. So you might want to go, there's kind of a big oval. And here's one over here. I'm going to kind of fake it till I make it because there's an iPad right here with my image. And then we have some shapes over here. And a good thing with when you're drawing, you can edit out stuff you don't want. Like I don't want, let's say I don't want this leaf back here. I don't have to draw it. It's the best part. You don't have to edit out, and it's not Photoshop. You don't have to Photoshop it up. If you don't want something, you don't put it in. So, and you see in the circle of this sunflower, it has some funky shapes too. So I'm gonna go. I love extras, and I love patterns. So I'm gonna draw this little center circle so I can get that going. So these petals all come off of this center circle. So if you want to draw some, and they're not all, you know, they're not all straight out. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them are curved, like this one right here has a curve to it. This one has a swoop. This one is going that way right here. So we're going to kind of go off some of those and do some crazy ones and then do some straight ones. I might speed up part of this video, but hopefully you get the idea. But they all start off from this center. So say this is the center of my petal. We're going to go right there. Come out that way. And so let's do this one next to it. It's got a bigger swoop. So we're going to come out for this center and swoop it. Then you're going to come out on the other side and swoop it back. Oops. And then we've got, I need to learn how to turn off notifications for videos. I don't know why I'm getting those notifications anyway. And then we swoop it back. And so let's go down here, and this one's kind of more straight, and you can swoop it. You're getting some nice petals. I should probably look at what I'm drawing so y'all don't get confused. Sometimes I like to make stuff up, which is also just fun. You know, you don't have to draw every petal. And having this guideline as a second circle around your center, you know, it kind of makes them all a little bit more uniform like a sunflower is. And you have your centers all coming off. So now you get this idea. I might work on another piece and then come back and finish this. Just so if you stay with me and you want to work ahead or work after the fact. Okay, so that's kind of the idea on that. And we'll work on shading in just a minute, but I'm going to get some other ideas. So if you see in this circle, let me see if y'all can see that. Oh, you can kind of see it. There's some glare, but not too bad. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. This kind of has a hatching honeycomb pattern, and it's kind of in a swirl. It starts out from this area. So I'm just going to do some lines coming out from that super middle circle, the tiny middle circle. You know, this is just me being playful and fun and focusing. I love pattern work, and if you see my artwork, you'll understand. I love patterns. I love shapes. Anything that has a design to it or a pattern to it, I hone in on that, and that's what I use a lot of times in my artwork and my paintings. I kind of zoom in on what God gives us in nature, and then I blow it up a little bit and turn it into my painting. And I think it's so much fun because, I mean, he cares about the details. God cares about the details, and he cares about us. And I mean, he put all that detail into that little bitty sunflower. So I'm going to use it. God gave it to me. I can use it. And it's fun. And it kind of gives you ideas when you might be like, oh, I'm stuck. How do I make this unique? Check out the details. Like, see what's going on under the surface. I don't really like what I did right there. So I'm going to come in here and make some cross hatching, if y'all remember that from our first video. You know, I'm not super married to that idea either. It doesn't look great, but I'm going to go with it. You also have this. If you don't like something you did, eraser. It's just fine. I'm going to go with it. I'm not using a super dark pencil. I'm just going to kind of come up with something. It kind of looks like a crazy windmill, which is a little bit exciting. Isn't that kind of what sunflowers in? They just kind of blow wind to wind. So the center of this sunflower is dark. So I'm going to kind of bring in, if you can see that, I'm going to bring in pencil and do some shading, that gradation shading like we talked about. I'm going to keep it as a circle and keep it kind of loose and keep it kind of fun. You can't tell I like to have a lot of fun. When my last video, I was nervous in my last videos. First one. So hopefully these videos will loosen up a little bit. But if you were my student, that is what I would start with. I would start with gradation and shading. It's what you got to learn. Eventually we'll progress and we'll do some painting and maybe some watercolor. But this is kind of the first step. Is drawing is what you got to do first. I am a big, a lot of people these days are skipping that. They are using projectors and they are using tracing. I remember when I was at Baylor, we were doing watercolors. And watercolors, man, those pencil lines are hard to get rid of. So it's hard to draw and have all these pencil lines when you're trying to do watercolor. So I was trying to do some lettering on a sign. And I'll never forget, I was in the graphic design room trying, basically cheating, trying to get some help with some lettering on a sign. And my professor comes in, he's like, "What is this, art in the dark?" I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Like he caught me trying to use the machine to do some, we had these big overhead projectors back then. I know that they're super small and compact now, but back then you had to go in like a dark room and use like a projector, put your image on there, and then it would blow up on your, paper and you could trace it. But I had gone through his 2D design class. I had gone through all these classes to learn how to do this. And I was taking the easy way out. And that's what I think it is. Projector art, easy way out. A lot of artists do it. But, it might just be I'm old-fashioned, which could be definitely the case. But I think it's important to learn how to do it. I am switching to a 4B, which is darker. Around this area, you have some circles. Some tiny little simple dots. So I'm going to add some of those. I kind of got off on a tangent, sorry. But it's important to learn how to draw. It's an important skill. It's one that's been around as long as art has been around. The cavemen were drawing back in the day. So don't skip learning how to draw. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. No art in the dark today. You're going to learn how to draw a sunflower the old-fashioned way. So you kind of see they have these circles. I'm trying to mimic some of this stuff, and some of them are ovals. And if you want, I don't normally care because I'm just having fun, but if you want to keep your paper kind of clean, you can, what is this? You can stick a piece of paper under your hand so you don't smear it all over the place. If you're going to want to do something with this drawing, which you might, and I'm excited to see what you do. At the end of this video, I've had a few awesome artists send me the art from their last lesson, and I'm going to share what they did because I love it. Makes me happy, brings me joy, and I want to show you what they did. I'm going to show off what they were working on. So one thing, you don't have to do the solid pattern design back here. You can do a few, give the idea, give the illusion to what you're talking for. And then you can kind of fuddle around it. You can shade in and out. You don't have to do the whole thing in a circle pattern if you want to. Not circle pattern, or what? It's more of like a stipple effect. And then I'm going to go darker in here because that is our center. I'm going to zoom out a little bit in case you're working on the other part and I'm just talking away. Let me go a little bit further. Right here, and see it gets lighter in this crosshair section. Crosshatch section, excuse me. This center is very dark. I might even take a darker pencil a little bit. Again, I'm using the 4B, which is a fairly dark pencil. I might try to take the 6B and get some darker tones in there in a little bit. And I'm kind of taking the little, I think these are, what, they might be where the sunflowers come from. I'll have to ask my mom. I've seen them before. I know if you leave sunflowers, the birds will just come eat those sunflowers right out of the center. But you have to be careful. Like I know that birds like sunflower seeds. So one year, I guess it was 2020, we were all home all the time, and my husband and I put up a bunch of bird feeders, and I'd planted this gorgeous rose bed in front of our house, and we had the birds. I think cardinals are the ones who eat sunflowers. We have a lot of cardinals. We kind of live in the woods and lots of birds, and we went into it and bought all these fancy bird feeders and bird seed, and I'd hung them over my rose bed right in front of our window. My husband works from home now, and he likes to watch the birds, and we have several cats. We have 6 cats. Like, how crazy is that? We got 2 COVID cats, and we love them. They are awesome, but it's a lot of cats. But anyways, they sit in his office all day and watch the birds. So I put up all these fancy bird seed feeders, and oh my goodness, we had so many seeds sprout under my windows. And that would be great, except some of them were sunflowers, and some of them were like weird grasses. And so I'm still pulling out all these weird grass seeds from under the windows. So beware, if you hang up a bird feeder, make sure you put it under a window that you don't want something kind of manicured, because you're going to get some crazy flowers coming out of it. All right, off another side trail. So you kind of see I have this little pattern going out here. I can get carried away with these. They're super fun. Now I'm going to take a darker pencil. I'm going to go with this. I think this set has a 6. No, that's 8B. I'm going to go 6B because I think most people will have that. If you have a pencil set, where is the 6B? This one not have it? Here it is. Most of them have a 6B. That's going to be the darkest, typically, that you'll probably get. It's important to stay hydrated, too. Anyone else obsessed with the Starbucks type cups? I have a lot of these, and my husband thinks I'm ridiculous. But the cats can't knock them over, and they don't spill everywhere. So, you know, they have all sorts of dupes at Walmart and stuff like that, too. But I just like a lidded cup. Keeps my friends out of the water. So here's our center. And then I'm going to go back and do some more of these crosshatch designs. Kind of a windmill pinwheel situation in the center. Then I'll go back and draw some more of the petals. And just kind of go in a circle. You also need to find your light source. I'm kind of ignoring that a little bit. It's probably because I have all these lights on, trying to make my drawing a little bit easier for y'all to see. So this sunflower doesn't really have a huge light source. It might be right here. So I might make this little section. I'll use the kneaded eraser. A little bit lighter. You come in with your eraser. You just kind of take a little bit out, and I'm going to put some more back in. So then it just gives it some highlight. Just come in and go over it again. And then this area might be a little darker. because you're getting a shadow on this side. Kind of like we did with the balls. Alright. So I'm going to go back in and do some more petals. I'm going to switch back to my two. Which one is this? I'll probably go HB to draw some petals. Just do some more of these. And here's that line in the center of my petal and some swooping. Might speed this up a little bit, so this video is not 30 hours long. And you can get some shorter ones. Let me do this first and then I'll show you how to shorten one. So not all these petals are the same length. Like this one's super long, this one's super short. So add some variety to it. It's fun. I might have a crazy long one. And you can draw every one as you see it, or you can make some up like I'm doing. Just kind of get the idea. So I'm going to speed through some of these, and then I will show you how to shade some of the petals. Be back in a minute. Okay, that did not take as long as I thought. So hopefully it didn't take you very long either. So for shading the petals, you can kind of see this area is a little bit darker. This area is lighter. And these petals have, like right here, you have like an outside of the petal. You can see that right here. You have this outside of the petal and the inside of the petal. The inside of the petal is darker. So you have this line right here. So you might want, and also one thing, to make this part stand out, you shade a little bit right here on the inside. You'll see that. Pretend like this is the bottom of the petal. You know, it doesn't have to be super dark. I'm using an HB pencil. But if you put a little shadow in here, this makes this part stand out. And also on the outside, you could put a little shadow, which we'll do on these. So that puts the emphasis on this as being an out front, brighter part of the petal. So I'm going to shade some of these. The base seems to be a little bit darker. I'm sure y'all can see this. And there are some cracks and crevices in here that are pretty dark. And they kind of go into these circles a little bit, where we have our little, I think those are the sunflower seeds or the pollen or something like that. Something planty. I'm sure my biology bestie, Miss Courtney, will help me out with that. If she watches this video, she'll put it in the comments, the parts of the flower that I'm not talking about. Shout out to Courtney. I always send her pictures of bugs too. Like if I'm just in the yard a lot, I like to look at the bugs, look at the flowers. My inspiration. Nature is my inspiration 100%. When I do abstracts, animals, always looking at what's out there. Kind of going over the shapes I did a little bit too on the inside, because they are the darkest part of this flower. Is the center. That's how a sunflower is. You can switch to a darker pencil too, but some of you might not have the cool pencil set, but you can win one. So hey, comment on this video, subscribe, and find me on Instagram, or if your mom is on Instagram or your dad, say like, hey, send me a little note, say, hey, followed you over from Instagram. I might post one of these over there and you can comment under that picture, the little link to the video. So most important, if you subscribe to this video and comment, if you find me on Instagram, you can send me pictures of your sunflower, which I would love to see. I would love to see what you do. But I'd love to see what y'all do. And you know, a lot of these are a little more curved. So you can come in, take out your pointy edges, give them some curves. And if you want to pause the video, be like, oh gosh, Jennifer, you're going too fast. Oh, possibly. Pause it. Come back to it, rewatch it. You can take your little eraser. These are so handy. I love these because you can get it super small. Like you're working on a little flower detail. You just make it to a little point. Sorry, my nails are ratchet. I am a working artist. This is how we roll. I am never Instagram ready, ever. So, you know, I've got gold paint on me. It is what it is. I am not going to be an Instagram ready artist. That's not what you're here for, I hope. You're not going to hear makeup tips, nail tips. Nope. I am a hardworking artist who is a hot mess most of the time. So, yay. All right, rocking and rolling on these petals. I might time lapse it a little bit. Well, let me show you how to do one of the shadowy ones first, and then I might time lapse it so we don't have to spend 5 hours watching this video. And y'all can pause it and work on it too and come back. So this one's a little darker. The bottom, I'm going to do this petal right here. The bottom is darker than the top because the light is showing through the top. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a shadow right here. And you want to keep your shadow edges soft because a shadow with light, they are soft. This is an organic thing. It's not like a hard line like a building. The petals are soft. They are backlit with light from, you know, a sunset. I think I took this one on my mom's garden. Mom, she grows, well, last year she grew some amazing sunflowers, and I think these were done on the 4th of July. We took some pictures in front of the sunflowers, and I took some pictures of the sunflowers. I think this is what that's from. So this is one of my mom's sunflowers, which is fun. The shadows are soft on a sunflower. You could add some harder lines. Say this line up here is a little bit more contrasting, so you could add a little bit. It's all about mixing it up. But like on this inner shadow, it's a soft line. It's not like a hard line. It's a soft shadow because it's from the sun and it's being backlit. So you can do another one over here. And I see I'm doing some of that squiggle circle shading to keep it soft. And over here I did the crosshatch shading to keep it kind of soft. And this is a little bit harder line at the top. You know, I'm doing all this with this HB pencil, so if all you have is like a mechanical pencil, go for it. It'll work. You just have to vary your pressure a little bit more than you would if you had different color or different hardness of leads. So I'm going to try to make this edge pop a little bit. So I'm going to go darker than the other edge. And this is still soft. And this side up here has a little shadow, so I'm going to put some in here. And add some because I want to have this one on top of this one, so this one will have this lighter edge right here. Let me show you with a little highlight to make it dramatic. Move, pencil. Hope it's coming back. So I've lightened this up a little bit with my eraser. And I'm going to pop this edge back with a shadow. Okay. So I'm going to work on the petals. I'm going to try to time lapse it, and then I'll work on some leaves. And then you'll kind of know how to draw a sunflower. And once you learn how to draw one flower, you can try other flowers. I thought I'd stop the time lapse here for a minute. I wasn't loving the center, so I used my handy dandy eraser. And I kind of wanted to bring out some more of those funky shapes. The crosshatch was great, but I kind of like this like almost square, funky, not quite square pattern that I was seeing in there. It makes it a little more unique. You know, almost like a bubble, but putting some hard edges on some of them. Kind of like, see it up here. I like say this is a bubble. I'm kind of making it a little loosey-goosey. Just kind of add your own, really taking that pattern, blowing it up, making my own. Some of them have a dot in the middle, which is kind of fun. Kind of adds a little uniqueness to your drawing if you want to do that. If you like the cross-hatching way that you did, that's great. I might add some of it back. This is just how I kind of make my drawing. I am not a realistic drawer. It is not going to look like a photo. I appreciate that kind of art. I always think, you know, camera is probably going to do it better to me. If I wanted that, I would probably use a camera because I have no patience. And I like things to be a little bit whimsical and funky and fun. So I am not a photorealistic painter. I don't want to be a photorealistic painter. I have the patience of a toddler. Which my toddler actually had a lot of patience. I have patience of a non-patient toddler, let's put it that way. And I like things to be a little more whimsical, fun, lighthearted, expressive. So anyways, I added this kind of circle pattern. And then I kind of have this different type of oval pattern. And I might lighten some of them up with my eraser. And add some darkness around others. So, kind of how I add my own unique twist. I like to zoom in on those details from nature and put them into my drawings. Which is always fun. All right.
Cat break. This is Rosie. Say hi, Rosie. She's a little nervous all the time. That's okay. We love her. Hi, Rosie. Can you say hi?
So we have all these lines that we use to get the overall shape of our sunflower. Sometimes they're kind of fun and I leave them, but if you want to clean it up a little bit, you just take your eraser, whatever eraser you have. You know, you can use a pencil eraser. If you're using a mechanical pencil, also works great. It's just an eraser. You can go in and clean up some of your lines that you don't want showing in your drawing. That's why we start with a light touch. We don't do a big old hard heavy circle because they're harder to erase. You know, I kind of do that with painting. Y'all will see in a little bit how I paint. I don't sketch a lot, so this is a really good exercise for me too. When I paint, I sketch my design directly on the canvas. And back to the projector thing real quick. I'm not knocking anybody if they use one. I just think it's important to know how to do this first. I have used, to be full honesty, I have used a projector before. When I do extremely large canvases, I will, sketch out a little bit of what I'm planning on just so I get the dimensions correct and then kind of trace out my overall design onto the painting, just because when they're larger, and my studio it's a decent size, but it's not, it's not the width of a baseball field. So if I'm painting something really big, I want to make sure that I get the perspective right and the composition correct before I start working, so I don't have that askew. So sometimes I'll use it, but you have to learn how to do this first. It's just, if you were my art student in my room, I would make you learn how to draw before we did anything else. It's a lot of practice. It's like anything. It's a lot of practice. No, nobody's going to be perfect, and there's no need to be. So just have fun with it. Explore what you can do with pencils. And in later videos, we'll go to watercolor and we'll go to painting. And this is the basics. This is what we're starting with, because this is what I'm starting with. Pretending like you are in my studio, my student. This is what we're rocking. So I am going to take a little bit darker pencil. And if you ever wonder what color I'm using, as we learned in that last video, the darker pencils, the softer lead pencils, have a darker one. Like this is I don't know what an F is. Some of these can get a little out there. But this kit has an F, so we're not going to use that one. This is an H, and this is a 6. The H is a light color because that is a harder lead. It's going to make a softer line. Softer pencils are darker, and the Bs, they have a darker end. So if you ever wonder, like in a time lapse, if I'm using a dark pencil or a soft pencil, based on the color of the tip and how hard I'm pressing, that's what you can tell. I'm going to just darken up some of these little lines right here with a darker pencil. I'm going to get this center pretty dark over here because it is the darkest part of the whole flower. Maybe some up here where the shadow is on. I'm just going over those patterns I made because they'll still show up. I'm not pressing like super hard. I'm just kind of going over and doing a little bit of a crosshatch like we learned in the first video. But since this is a softer pencil, it could also be like a gradation. But either way you want to shade it, and you can do scribbles like woo. I love that one. That's more my style. I like to scribble. I like to be free and have fun with it. No one's grading me, except I guess if you don't subscribe to my video, that's kind of like a grade, but it's okay. I like you anyway. I'm going to do some darker shades down here, because if you do dark around a lighter area, it'll make the lighter area pop. Kind of like how we did with the petals. And you don't have to do it this big. I drew this sunflower kind of large, which took a little bit longer because I wanted y'all to be able to see what I was doing. You do not have to do it this big. I'm just excited you're here. And I am thankful for you. I want you to know every video I am thankful for you, and I'm excited you're here. And I am lucky to have you watching my video because I would like to use the tools God gave me and share them. And this is an easy way for me to do it. My time is limited. I am a working artist full time. I paint and sell about 52 paintings on average a year, which is about 1 a week. They're not all huge, but some are bigger and some are smaller. But I am pretty busy in my studio, and so I feel bad that I can't always offer art lessons or camps or fun stuff like that, because I am a busy working, that's my full-time job, and I'm also a mom who has a very busy soon-to-be 6th grader, and it's just not in the cards for me right now. One day maybe, but for now I was like, hey, this will meet the needs of a lot of people who might not be able to afford art lessons, who cannot go to an art lesson, or maybe they don't, a lot art's been cut a lot in schools, and maybe this could be a good substitution for that if you want to work on your art at home and you don't have art in the classroom. And, or maybe you can't go and leave the house and you just want to learn how to draw. And drawing is a skill that you can use the rest of your life, or you can pick it up later in life. It is just something fun to do. I'm going to do a leaf shape right here. This line right here, it's kind of like a little swoop. Not too bad. Not extreme right here. And then we've got this kind of oval shape that we drew. And we're just going to kind of, this shape right here is another oval. So I'm going to kind of put an oval right there. And down here, I've got a little circle-ish shape. And down here is a longer oval. Over here is kind of a bigger, fatter oval. And over here is another one. And this kind of works for all drawing. Find the shapes. Start with that. Find the shapes in what you're drawing. And then you can draw anything. It's kind of like that ratatouille. Anyone can draw if you find your shapes. And there are shapes in every single thing you do draw. So, my tip of the day, find your shapes. And then I'm kind of connecting these shapes. You know, it's not the most pleasing aspect, but it is what it is, and this is what we're working with. And, you know, if I was doing this on my own, I might have shifted that leaf a little bit to make a better composition, but I might do one over here in a minute, show you how to do that. But okay, so here is my basic leaf shape, which is coming along quite nicely. The leaf is almost as big as the flower, which is crazy. Let me see that. Almost, and this one's a little long, so I might cut that one off a little bit. Oops. Y'all probably can't see that down there anyway. So check your proportions every now and then before you get too far. Like, I think I made that a little bit too large. Before you start like setting in with heavy dark lines, check your proportions. It'll save you a lot of trouble at the end. And you actually can't even see the end of that leaf, so I may have been okay, but it doesn't matter. So this leaf has some vines that go through it. Not vines, what are those called? Okay, Courtney, bio woman. She's a biology teacher at my high school, and she's probably one of the smartest people I know. So I use her for a lot of things. I have a lot of smart friends. Like, I'm one lucky person, because if I ever have a question, I've got some smarty pants in my life that like to help me out. These are the parts of the plant that's veiny. I don't know what it's called, but you can kind of draw those in. And then they're going to be the lighter part, so we're going to shade around them. All right, so I'm going to take my pencil. The darkest parts are right here and right here. So, and also these will make these leaves pop because the leaf is darker. Put that little line back in. Darker than the petals. So that's kind of an easy way to make your flowers pop, is to add it. And you know, you can do it on this background. I haven't done that yet, and I probably won't today, but you know, if you put in a background, you know, you could draw all those plants behind the sunflower. But you put in, oh, it's kind of light. I'm gonna go with a dark one and just show you this real quick. Since I did shade those. A darker color behind for your background. I do this a lot in my paintings. And actually, I was a printmaking major at Baylor. And I did this by accident one day in the print shop. And I learned so much. I had a happy accident, and I learned, hey, if you put a darker color, which was done by accident by me, behind all of your intricate work and all your crazy stuff, it really makes that crazy stuff pop. So I started doing that on my paintings. And I absolutely loved it because I can go a little wild and extra. Okay, I'm going to stop doing that, but you get the idea. I can go a little wild and extra on my paintings in the foreground, which I often do. I love pattern, I love color, and it goes cray-cray. Then I can take a solid background and calm it down a little bit to make that area not so, and I mean, it is intense, but the background being a solid color, sometimes I'll do a pattern, but it lets it be intense and it lets it work with the composition. So your eye can find a spot to chill out a little bit, which is important. So you can kind of see how that works. Those petals now pop. Off on that tangent. Oh, I'm bad about that. Okay. So back to these. I'm going to keep shading this leaf. And another way, I think that was supposed to be a petal. I'll clean that up. So if I wanted to shade this all, you know, move a little bit faster, which I get because we've been at this a while, and you're like, oh, I'm sick of the sunflower. You know, if you turn your pencil sideways, you can go a little bit faster as you're using a larger surface. And that's why I need to get some of those woodless pencils and show you how to do that. I returned my set to my daughter like a good mother. And I have a drawing box somewhere. I should probably find it. It's got a lot of stuff in it that I can use. We can try charcoal and other things too. But graphite is something most people have, and it's pretty easy to get if you don't have it. Everybody's got to have a pencil, right? So I'm going to pop out some of this shading, you know, make these petals pop, because you don't want them to be all the same tone. I'll let some of these petals pop a little bit by putting some darker tones. And if you ever want to take a break, stop the video, pause the video, you can. I know this one's getting a little long, and I apologize, but hopefully you're learning something. I'm doing some shadowing right here, shading down here. And this part of the leaf is lighter, so I'm going to bring this up right here. Make sure that everybody can tell. And there's some more shading up here. We're going to go back in and bring in some of those veiny things. That's what I'm going to say, veiny things. So when you kind of squint your eyes when you're looking at an image, and I'm going to pop this image up so you can take a screenshot of it or something before we even start painting. So hopefully I have done that in my video. If you squint your eyes, you can kind of see the lightest and the darkest part. The lightest part and the darkest part kind of pop out when you squint. That's kind of a trick of the trade. If you're having a hard time finding your most important values, I recommend that. And there is a dark piece down here. And over here. Okay. So now I'm going to take my darker pencil, and I'm going to this line is this is an organic line. It's an organic shape, and it has some cool little bumpies. And so I'm going to take my line and kind of do a contour type drawing. When you go in and you go out and you're really loose with it, and then you can bring your pencil softer and you can pick it up and keep it very light touch. And kind of bring some lines. This is kind of called a contour line drawing, where you leave it lightly on your pencil, take the pressure off when you want it to be lighter, and then you kind of bring it out and make it a little whimsical. You can do that with the petals too. The petals on these guys, I mean, some of them, I could add a little doodly-doo. Is that a trademark phrase, doodly-doo? Probably not. When I finish a drawing, I'll probably do that in a second, but this is just, we'll stay on the leaf. It just kind of adds a softness to it. And so I'm going to take my eraser and make some of these veins too. Bring them out. That's why this little eraser works well, because you can kind of go back in and come up with some lighter spots and go really small with it. And then this area over here, I want to lighten up a bit. And I can clean up my line work. You know, I made this big oval. Do this leaf. I'm going to come back in and make this line a little bit more defined on the inside with some shading. All right, so we're going to stop with the leaf there. If you want to do another leaf over here, I'll pop that up. I might do it later. This video is getting a little long, and I know people are like, oh, Jennifer, move on. So that's kind of the basics. You can go in and clean up your lines. You can add some really dark shadows in. You know, bring out some highlights with your eraser. I feel like that is an excellent start to learning how to draw a sunflower, learning how to draw flowers, finding your shapes, having fun with it. Don't get too stressed. Just rock it out and try something new. Try a different shading technique. Try something we talked about today, like doing the crazy shapes. And don't be afraid to use your eraser and make lines you're like, oh, I don't like that line. Take it out. Something's too big or too small, take it out. Just do it before you get too hard on your pencil. Go softly. And here we can do this one. I might do this one later and finish out the drawing and show you at the end. But I cannot wait to see what you do. So send me a picture if you draw a sunflower. You can use one that you have. You can use one that you take a picture of. Mine is feel free to use it. And I'll post a picture of this one finished in a few. But I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do it. I might put it on time lapse. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. And I'll do a recap in a little bit. So see you in a minute. I have finished this drawing for what I'm going to do to it. I added kind of some silhouette of some other leaf shapes in the background just to kind of give it a play on light and dark and add some interest to the picture. There's always a nice finish when you put something behind a mat. It kind of cleans it up a little bit if you're going to frame it or something like that. So I just decided to pop that in there. I hope you enjoyed the sunflower lesson. My lighting's a little bit funny because I came back to it and it is nighttime in my studio, but hopefully you get the idea and hopefully you enjoyed it and you learned something. And please send me what you do. I would love to see the different sunflowers y'all come up with and your take on this project. And next time we are going to draw from nature again. I'm not sure if we're going to do bees or bugs or maybe some different flowers. Y'all let me know below and it'll help me decide. If you have any questions too, pop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. Do not forget about our fun giveaway for the Windsor Newton pencils. So go find me on Instagram, pop a comment that you want the pencils in comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this fun little sunflower demo. Thanks for joining me in my studio. Bye.